Good morning, everybody. At least it's morning here in Vermont, USA. I'm going to do a presentation and it's titled Working with Protocols. There are PDFs on the website, and aim it a little bit better, that might be a nice thing for you to download. There's that one, Working with Protocols and Battery. I think I might just say Working with Protocols. There is this one. This is screen shots enlarged and in print, so it'll help me with this presentation because the little tiny screen on the plasma ball is not captured very well by the camera. And of course that one says Screen Displays for Working with Protocols. And then there's one other document and it's called Intelligent Memory Groups and Protocols. And what this is a list of the 50 stored memories already loaded into the plasma ball. We're going to be working with protocol group, or memory group is what I meant to say. Memory or frequency group, I'll use those words interchangeably, they're the same. With this one right here, which is 33, and we'll be playing around with 33 and 34 for this little example of how to do protocols. Alright, let's get started. The very first thing I want to do is turn on the plasma ball. And the plasma ball is now on. You can see the screen lit up. And it is right now set to step 1, the top step 1. There's 2 step 1s. It's set to the top one. And it does have a frequency F1 of 34,922 hertz with a excuse me, with a duty cycle of 20%, and frequency 2 in the plasma ball is 7.83 Schumann's resonance with a duty cycle of 50%. And just to show you that that's where it's at, if I press and it's flashing away. I'll turn the light off momentarily just so you can get a better view of the plasma ball. It's flashing here. The camera can't sync up. It's flashing at the rate of 7.83. And it almost looks like it's flashing. It's flashing very well here, but the camera doesn't represent it as well as I see it with my eyes. But it is running 34,922 hertz as a primary, and then I'm turning it on and off, so I'm making a compound frequency, and I'm gating it on and off at the rate of 7.83 Schumann's resonance. All right. Is it light enough to see this? Yeah, I might not have to turn the light back on. Okay, good. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this by pressing the rotary button. Is a start stop, which has been explained in the quick start. Hopefully you caught that little video. And the very first thing I'm going to do is, and I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to be able to see it very well, is I'm moving the cursor under the word setup, and I'm dialing in 0. Actually, it's already at 0. And I'm going to move the cursor over to the frequency read area. And I'm actually going to dial in 30, which one did I say I was going to dial in? 33. So I'm dialing up to 33. Get up there, get up there. It's so easy to overturn the dial faster than the little Arduino can respond to the turns. Then there we are, we're at 33. Whoops. We're at 33. And 33, the screen is now dialed where it says, what does it say? I actually have something different compared to what it actually says on my screen. Regardless, this is the one I'm going to set up. So it's saying I have a frequency of 33,000 hertz, and it's got 45. Yeah, this is definitely not matching up with my little display here. I'm talking about step 1, the second step 1. And we don't really care because I'm going to change that. We're going to go straight to step 2 right now. and we're going to dial in those two frequencies, 28000 at 20%. I'm going to put it at 20%, and I'm going to dial in Schumann's resonance for F2, the second frequency, at 50. It is not there now. I was using this ball for something else, obviously, and it's set for something different. So I'm going to dial it, and you can hear what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm stepping the cursor back to setup equals 0, and I'm changing setup equals 0 to setup equals 1. Then I'm stepping the cursor forward to the very first digit, the 3 underneath F1, and I'm going to change that to a 2 just by dialing it in using the dial. And it's a little hard for me to do this on an angle, but I'm gonna manage. Then I'm going to step over to the very next position next to the 2 and make that an 8. Now the reason why I'm going to use 28,000 in here, and then I'm going to make the other 3 zeros, which are already zeros, so I'm just going to keep stepping over, and I'm going to step over to the duty cycle, D1, and change that to 20%. And I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to change the 45 that's set in F2, dial that down to 0, and dial that up to 7, and go to the fraction part, 8-3. And I just dialed Schumann's resonance in for F2, and I'm going to set that at a duty cycle, not 45% here, but 50%. Very minuscule difference. Okay. Now I've just dialed in a new frequency and duty cycles for both frequencies that were displayed, and they now read step 2. Get that in here so it doesn't shake. I'm at step 2, and they read exactly what it says on the screen. Step 2, 28, D1 of 20%, F2 at 7.83, and D2 at 50%. But that's not put in memory. To get that in, actually get that inside the Arduino memory, I have to press the start button one time and then press it again, and it actually ran that frequency for a fraction of a second for as long as I let it run, and now it locked it into memory position 33, and I have one of my objectives set. That will be the first frequency in my protocol chain. Now I call protocol chains, or a protocol, anything that's more than one frequency. And a protocol could be 10 consecutive frequencies that you're playing for a protocol, for a procedure that you want your plasma ball to run at. Same things you do with the Spooky. You dial in various frequencies or names of protocols in the frequency database, and some of them will have 5 frequencies, some will have 20, some will have just 2 or 3. So I call a protocol anything that's more than just one frequency. And we're going to go to protocol mode in a second. Next thing I'm going to do is, while I'm setting up frequencies, I'm going to change memory position 34. That's one up from where I'm at. And right now, whatever it is, I'm going to make memory position look like step 3. It's going to look like step 3. It's going to be 28, and it's going to have the first, looks like a 396 in there, and which is the first frequency of the 6 frequencies solfeggio frequency chain. I know I'm not going to explain solfeggio. You can look it up. I use those frequencies all the time. Just say my favorite one out of the 6 is 528, which is the DNA repair frequency. But we're going to use the first one, which is 396, so I'm going to dial that in. And I'm dialing. I'm stepping over to F2. And I'm dialing in, oops, I overstepped it, so let me do that again. Let me see, what digit am I on? 3. Stepping over to the next one. I overstepped. It is so hard doing this on an angle for me. Okay, 9. Dialed in 9 now. And the last digit will be a 6. And I accidentally stepped out of it, so I'll go back to it, a 6. And I'll make the last two 0, 0. So now I have 396.00 in there for F2, and it's already set for a duty cycle of 50 cycles. So now I have a protocol started. It has 2 frequencies in it. The primary frequency is 28,000 hertz, or 28000 hertz, but the secondary is changing on both of these. The first one is Schulman's resonance, and the second one in this protocol chain is Schulman's resonance 396, the very first of the Schulman resonance frequencies out of the 6. So now it's not locked into memory. So just like I did to lock the first frequency memory group in to position 33, I'm going to lock this one into position 34. Stepping, making sure that it says 34 and frequency set. And I'm press the start and press the stop. So now I have frequency 33 set up and frequency 34 set up. And I'm going to, I made a mistake here. Fix frequency 33 is not the perfect Schulman's resonance that I want. So I'm dialing that frequency again. I must have turned the knob when I was pressing on an angle. And I'm making sure that's 8.3. And I'm sorry for the delay. And I'm locking that in. And I'm going to step back up to 33 is 7 point. I'm going to take a look at 34. Got it. I got it right. So I've locked those 2 frequencies in exactly where I wanted. The next thing we're going to do is to change the mode of operation that the plasma ball is set up in. Right now the plasma ball is set up into mode 1, which is simple frequency. It just runs the very frequency that you have set on the screen, or frequencies, both of them. And so I'm going back to setup equals 0, and I'm dialing in a 2. Now the screen changed. The screen changed to look like this. Step 4, where it says modes is equal to a 1. The only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to the second step 4, and I'm going to make modes equal to a 2. That's all I'm doing. So I'm stepping the cursor over to modes, dialing in a 2, and I'm going to press the start, stop, and lock that in. So now I've got my mode set up into protocol mode. Mode 2 is protocol. 1 is simple frequency, 2 is protocol, and 3 is a sweep. We're not going to do sweep in this presentation. We're only doing protocol. Now the very next thing I want to do is to absolutely, is to go to screen setup equals 3. 3. And where it says, protocol. Let me show you what that screen looks like. It's this one at step 5. And you'll notice it says a starting group of 17 and an ending group of 28. I'm going to change that to a starting group of 33 and an ending group of 34. So it's going to run 2 consecutive frequencies in this protocol. Very, very simple. So I'm stepping the cursor over to starting, range starting, and I'm dialing 33. And I'm stepping the cursor over to range stopping, and I'm dialing in 34. And I'm going to lock that in by pressing the start stop button. Now you don't have to, you can set up everything and then press the start button at the end. In other words, I could have set the protocol to a 2 and didn't do the start stop. Moved on to setting the range, and then press the start stop button, and would have locked both the protocol and the range in at the same time. The last thing we want to do here on this little test, we've got 16 minutes to see if I can finish this. The very last thing I want to do is to check my times for this protocol. How long is this protocol going to run? So I'm going to step to screen 5. And screen 5 looks like this. By the way, there you can see where I changed. Oops, if I can hold it steady. Step 5 shows that the range was changed to 33 and 34. Get a little closer look. Yeah, there, you can see that better. Now I'm going to step to the very last, step 6 and 7, and I'm going to check my memory and see what my memory has for times. Step settings equals 5 is where your times are set. And I have a frequency time of 180. Because this is a real-time presentation, I'm going to dial that frequency time down to 5 seconds. That was 180 seconds, by the way. Frequency time is always in seconds, pretty much like the Spooky. And I now just dialed in 5. So that frequency is going to run protocol, each frequency in it for 5 seconds, and then it'll switch to the next frequency. And make sure I get 5 in there. And I have it set here to run for 180 minutes. That's 3 hours. I can just leave that because I'm just going to stop this. I just want you to see the frequency change. I could have run this for 10 minutes, but we're not going to watch the plasma ball flash for 10 minutes. So however long it runs is long enough. But my frequency time is set for 5 seconds. I'm going to step back all the way back to setup equals 5, and I'm going to dial that back down to 0. When you're ready to run the protocols, or run a simple frequency, or run a sweep, always start from setup equals 0. There's a reason for that, and just do it for now, and maybe in another video I'll capture some of the screens and explain a little bit better why setup equals 0 is where you want to start from. Well, we're all set. If I press the plasma ball start stop button, which is the rotary dial, right now it is running 28000, and it's flashing, and then just read it for 5 seconds. Now it's not flashing. Now it's going back to flashing. Now it's not flashing. What it is, it's actually flashing so fast you can't see it. It's flashing right now at Schulman's resonance of 7.83, and now it's flashing at the first Solfeggio frequency of 396. And it's just repeating that protocol over and over again because I said I want this program to run for a long time. But if I set the program time to just 1 minute, this whole thing would be over with in 1 minute. Pretty much, this is a 20-minute video. Pretty much like this video is going to be over within another minute or so. Before I leave, I'm here. I just would like to point out the battery. And what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to separate the video. I don't like to have too long of videos. So I'm going to start up another video just to show you the battery. And that was how to run a protocol. In fact, I might even pick up and show you a few more things about protocol. So, people, we're going to stop this video and we'll catch you on the next one.